And now, ladies and gentlemen, from the heart of the Inland Empire, right here in sunny Southern California, it's Robert Cardoza Live, where we talk about politics, money, and you. This is the intersection of business and politics. And now here's your host, Robert Cardoza. And welcome aboard. I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to the intersection of business and politics right here on Robert Cardoza Live, where I do an honest, unbiased analysis of the issues confronting you today that affect the decisions that you're going to make for both your personal and your business life. I come to you every Monday through Friday from 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. Pacific Time on Spreaker Radio, MyCast Radio, countless terrestrial stations worldwide. I also broadcast on Roar 1776 Radio and Live 365 Radio every Friday from 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. Pacific Time. Please follow me on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Google+, and YouTube, where you can listen to all of my shows 24/7. Go to my website at www.robertcardozalive.com for archives of all my radio and television shows. You can also access my show live right from my website each day simply by clicking on that icon labeled Listen Live. Email me at robertcardozalive@gmail.com. That's where I get all the emails I deal with here on the show. And you can call into my show if you want to comment or just engage me in conversation about anything. Call in to the studio at 909-545-6516. Again, that number, 909-545-6516. Now, on today's show, we're going to discuss what's in the news, new legislation the IRS loses, and I'm going to answer all of your emails just like I always do. Today, my expert contributor is John Matthews with his series, The Conservative Syndicate, and my special guest, Sean Lefebvre, with his healthcare series, Geared for Wellness. Now, I want you to stand by for news, but first I want you to know that at 4:02 p.m. Pacific Time, it is currently 94 degrees here in the heart of the Inland Empire in sunny Southern California. That's down from 99 degrees. And I can't wait for it to get down to its low. But right now, let's talk about the news that's out there just waiting for you. First off, a wing part could help solve what happened to MH370. That's Malaysia Airlines. You know, in a barnacle-encrusted wing part that washed up on a remote Indian Ocean island could solve one of aviation's greatest mysteries as investigators work to connect it to the Malaysia Airlines flight that vanished more than a year ago. The surprise discovery of the debris on a rocky beach stirred hopes and emotion among families of the missing. After a year and a half of grieving and frustration at a lack of answers, despite a wide, deep, and expansive multinational search effort in the southern Indian Ocean, the China Sea, and the Gulf of Thailand. Even if it is confirmed to be a long-awaited first clue to the disappearance of Flight 370, there's no guarantee that investigators still find the plane's recorders or other remains a year and a half later. The coming hours and days will be crucial. French authorities moved the plane piece from the beach to the local airport at Réunion and will send it next to the city of Toulouse, where it may arrive Saturday morning, according to the Paris prosecutor's office. Toulouse is the hub of Europe's aerospace industry, with the headquarters of Airbus and a network of hangars and plane facilities. The plane part will be analyzed in special defense facilities used for airplane testing and analysis, according to the Defense Ministry. Well, you know what? Let's just get our fingers crossed. Let's hope that we learn something here. That would be the best thing that could happen to us, don't you think? Yeah, I do too. Well, Afghan Taliban confirm Mullah Omar's death. Choose a successor. The Taliban confirmed the death of longtime leader Mullah Muhammad Omar and appointed his successor today as a new round of peace talks was indefinitely postponed amid concerns over how committed the new leadership is to ending the militant group's 14-year insurgency. The Afghan Taliban Shura, or Supreme Council, chose Mullah Omar's deputy Mullah Akhar Monsar as its new leader. Two Taliban figures told the Associated Press, saying the 7-member council had met in the Pakistani city of Quetta. Mansour is considered close to Pakistani authorities who hosted peace talks earlier this month, and his election could widen an internal split between fighters who favor negotiations with the Afghan government and those who want to continue an insurgency that has gained speed following the end of the international combat mission last year. Mansour has effectively commanded the movement for the 3 years since Mullah Omar's previous deputy and co-founder of the movement. Mullah Abdur Barador was arrested by Pakistani authorities. Observers say he has the respect of battlefield commanders and is behind the intensification of the war in recent months as a means of strengthening the Taliban's hand as it enters into a formal dialogue with Kabul. So only time will tell, right? It doesn't seem like the news really gets any better if you think about it. At least it doesn't seem that way to me. So, there we go. We got hung up here for some reason. Don't know what the heck's causing this problem. Let's try. There we go. Now we got it. Well, it looks like the news is going to take a back seat to everything else. My computer here doesn't want to cooperate with me. So let's see what the heck's going on. Let's try and get it back in here. We'll try and get this thing going. It looks like it's going to reboot up here in a second. But we'll see what's happening. There it goes. Now it's loading up, and we'll see what happens next here. I'm kind of lost without this. I read the news as it comes up on the wire, and so we'll actually have to see it together to see what's going on. Now, let's see here. How about the Associated Press investigation? Olympic teams to swim boat in Rio's filth. Now, here's the thing. Athletes in next year's Summer Olympics will be swimming boating in waters so contaminated with human feces that they risk becoming violently ill and unable to compete in the games, an Associated Press investigation has found. An AP analysis of water quality revealed dangerously high levels of viruses and bacteria from human sewage in Olympic and Paralympic venues, results that alarmed international experts and dismayed competitors training in Rio, some of whom have already fallen ill with fevers, vomiting, and diarrhea. It is the first independent comprehensive testing for both viruses and bacteria at the Olympic sites. Brazilian officials have assured that the water will be safe for the Olympic athletes, and the medical director of the International Olympic Committee said all was on track for providing safe competing venues, but neither the government nor the IOC tests for viruses, relying on bacteria testing only. Extreme water pollution is common in Brazil, where the majority of sewage is not treated. Raw waste runs through the open air ditches to streams and rivers that feed the Olympic water sites. You'd have thought they would have looked into that before they awarded the Olympic site, wouldn't you? I would think so. Well, the defense DA and the DA argue reasons to spare Colorado gunman's life. Defense lawyers for James Holmes made one more appeal for mercy today, urging jurors to consider mental illness in his sentencing, even though they rejected his insanity claim when they convicted him of murdering 12 people and trying to kill 70 others at a Colorado movie theater. It was not about notoriety. It was not about hatred. It was about the delusion, attorney Tamara Brady said. The stressors triggered his psychosis. The psychosis caused him to be delusional and come up with this plan to shoot people in this theater, she said. No one has said that Mr. Holmes is malingering or faking or exaggerating psychiatric symptoms. He is indisputably mentally ill. Brady said prosecutors tried to explain the random and senseless crime with a theory that Holmes methodically pursued a mission to kill. But the mere senselessness of it shows that it was psychotic. There was no political statement or religious statement or statement of any kind about what happened in that theater, she said. He didn't send anything to the New York Times or Denver Post. He sent his notebook to his psychiatrist. It had nothing to do with notoriety. Now, do not go away, because when we come back, we're going to talk about a campus officer pleads not guilty in a traffic stop shooting. I'll tell you all about that right after these brief messages. Do not go away. If you want to increase your client base and sales, then consider this, the Relationship Building Network at RBN. Given the current economic conditions and challenges, we all need to work smarter, make smarter decisions, invest our hard-earned dollars where it'll yield the best return for our investment. Many business professionals claim that the most effective networking group in Orange County is RBN. No other networking group or organization can offer what RBN offers. Make every year your best year. Join RBN and start reaping the benefits today. You know, nearly 3,000 businesses have joined RBN and experienced those benefits. Why join RBN? It's one group. It's one membership. It's no renewals. It's all through Orange County. RBN is a freestyle networking group. No mandatory attendance, no restrictions, no rules, and no penalties. Call them at 949-830-5776 or go to their website at rbninfo.com. That's 949-830-5776. If you've ever dreamed of having your own business to make your life secure, you know Water's Edge Wineries might be just the ticket. In 2004, their founder, Ken Lineberger, created the first winery franchise in California. It was a new concept with all of the functionality of a traditional winery, but without the vineyards. They purchased high-quality grape must from one of the largest winemaking companies in the world. Then they craft each wine carefully and bottle it right at their location. The winery was built to satisfy consumer demand for wine by the bottle and by the glass, but still kept the element of allowing customers to bottle their own custom vintage. Now, they're opening urban wineries across the United States under the brand Water's Edge Wineries. If you've ever dreamed of owning your own winery, it may be in reach right now through Water's Edge Wineries. Just give them a call at 909-468-9463, extension 700. That's Water's Edge Wineries, 909-468-9463. Have you ever found yourself caught between a rock and a hard place? The law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett might be just the answer for you. The attorneys of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett have been serving the Inland Empire since 1989. They're dedicated to the aggressive litigation of civil, criminal, and real estate matters. Over the years, they have recovered tens of millions of dollars for their clients. The firm's practice specializes in litigation of personal injury, accident, slip and fall, real estate, and criminal law cases. The firm provides clients with the care, accuracy, and dedication of experienced attorneys. Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett is located at 10300 4th Street, Suite 150 in Rancho Cucamonga, California. They've been providing the Inland Empire residents with outstanding legal services for over 25 years. They look forward to providing you with aggressive legal representation. Call them at 909-945-5000, where you can talk to a person, not a machine. That's 909-945-5000, the law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett. And now let's get back to our show where we talk about politics, money, and you. And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza Live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. And when we left, we were talking about the news, and let's get right back into it. It's the last segment for today. And it's a campus officer pleads not guilty in a traffic stop shooting. A University of Cincinnati police officer who fatally shot a motorist during a traffic stop pleaded not guilty today to murder charges and was ordered jailed on $1 million bond. People in the courtroom audience erupted into cheers and clapped when Officer Ray Tenzing's bond was set at $1 million, drawing the ire of Judge Megan Shanahan. Ladies and gentlemen, this is a courtroom, the judge said sharply. Tenzing is also charged with voluntary manslaughter in the July 19th shooting of Samuel Dubois of Cincinnati, who was stopped for not having a front license plate. A defense attorney, Stuart Matthews, said there are two sides to the case and that the much-viewed body camera video of the traffic stop can be interpreted differently from the prosecutor's version. He described Tenzing as very depressed and in shock, adding that the officer felt like he'd been run over by a train from the start of this case. Tenzing, 25, was fired soon after he was indicted. He had been with the University of Cincinnati for more than a year after starting police work in 2011 in a Cincinnati suburb. He has a UC degree in criminal justice. Well, you know, he's depressed. What about the guy he killed? Yeah, guess not, right? Well, how about this? Congress is heading on vacation. Can you believe it? Putting off messy decisions. Can you believe it? Well, would you expect anything else? That came in 2 hours ago. Congress is heading out for a 5-week summer recess in anything but a cheerful vacation mood, leaving behind a pile of unfinished business that all but guarantees a painful fall. Not long after they return in September, lawmakers must vote on President Barack Obama's nuclear deal with Iran. a brutally divisive issue that many lawmakers expect will dominate voter halls during their annual August break. And as more videos emerge showing disturbing fetal tissue collection practices, Republicans are increasingly focused on cutting off funding for Planned Parenthood, raising the project that Congress will spend September tied in knots over how to avoid shutting down the government over that issue. Later in the fall or winter, Congress will have to raise the federal debt limit, another issue ripe for brinkmanship, especially given the presence in the Senate of several presidential candidates adamantly opposed to the increase. The House wrapped up its summer session by approving only a 3-month extension of the highway and transit spending authority, kicking negotiations on that into the fall as well. If anybody has gotten good at kicking the can down the road, got to be our Congress, folks. They don't seem to accomplish anything anymore. And anything that is as important as this nuclear deal with Iran, and they're going to take a 5-week vacation. They all say that this is going to be Armageddon, and they all take a 5-week vacation. Somebody ought to hold their butts in Washington, D.C. until they come to a resolution to this thing. Well, a man stabbed several people in Jerusalem at the gay pride parade. Go figure. Revelers dancing and singing through the streets of Jerusalem during the Holy City's annual gay pride parade were left shrieking in pain and panic this evening as an anti-gay extremist lunged into the group leading the march and stabbed 6 people, Israeli police and witnesses said. Police said the attacker, Yeshai Schlissel, who was arrested at the scene for today's attack, had been released from prison just 3 weeks ago after serving a sentence for stabbing several people at the parade in 2005, the same doggone parade. Now, 6 people were wounded in the attack, 2 of them seriously. Eli Ben of Israel's emergency service said the gay pride parade was proceeding as planned with party music, Israeli flags, and rainbow-clad marchers winding their way through central Jerusalem's barricaded streets under a heavy police presence. An Associated Press photographer witnessed the attacker enter the throng of people with his hand in his coat and within seconds raise a knife and begin stabbing people in the back. Police pounced on him and arrested him. Gosh, everywhere, huh? Not just the United States, I guess. How about this? Confederate flags left near the Reverend Martin Luther King's church. Police, and this just came in today. Police worked today to identify 2 white males who were caught on surveillance cameras laying Confederate battle flags neatly on the ground near Reverend Martin Luther King Jr.'s church. It was the latest provocative act involving the Civil War-era symbol since 9 black church members were gunned down during Bible study in South Carolina, and it happened in the heart of an area devoted to the slain civil rights leader near his birthplace, his crypt, and a center devoted to preserving his legacy. Atlanta Police Chief George Turner said his agency was working with federal authorities, and they have not determined what charges might be levied. Turner said they have not ruled out a hate crime, though Georgia has no state hate crime law. An officer from the Atlanta FBI's Joint Terrorism Task Force was on the scene to better determine if any specific threats were received and to provide support to Atlanta police. FBI Special Agent Steve Emmett said in an email to the Associated Press. Isn't it just, when does it get better? I don't know. I don't know. How about this? Pope's upcoming visit inspires anxiety in Philadelphia. Pregnant women are calling up the mayor, concerned they won't be able to get to the delivery room. Some businesses say they've been told to close for a 3-day weekend. Others are bringing in cots for workers to sleep. Taxi drivers, fearing onerous checkpoints and distant drop-off locations, are planning to stay home. With official information scant just 8 weeks before Pope Francis makes Philadelphia the centerpiece of his U.S. trip, rumors are swirling about massive security fencing and miles of street closures. Residents and visitors alike fear long walks to and from papal events, too few bathrooms, and a dearth of food and other amenities in areas where delivery trucks could be restricted. The lack of clear information is breeding confusion and consternation in the city of brotherly love and contempt for the people who run it, particularly around the downtown parkway where Francis is expected to attend an outdoor concert and celebrate Mass before more than 1 million people. Well, there are serious logistic problems for residents and visitors alike, said Barbara Epstein, who lives 3 blocks from the Benjamin Franklin Parkway. It would be nice if the powers that be could reassure us that our lives aren't going to be disrupted in an irreconcilable way. Now, don't go away. When we come back, we'll be, after these brief messages, I'm going to talk about the IRS loses. And the first one is the IRS cannot seize a home that the debtor hasn't even owned for 20 years. I'll tell you all about it right after these brief messages. Don't go away. Isn't it time to shine the spotlight on your expertise? The Interview, starring you. Here's your chance to capture 5 minutes of fame with The Interview. This isn't just any interview. This is your opportunity to showcase your expertise and position yourself as a trusted expert in a one-on-one video interview hosted by Robert Cardoza, host of the nationally syndicated show Robert Cardoza Live and powered by AHA Studios. What is it? A professionally recorded video for your use. Robert Cardoza interviews you on the set where he records his show. Professional interview showcases your expertise and value, shot in a state-of-the-art studio. And what's in it for you? Gain credibility as an expert, earn the trust of your target market, educate in a way that intrigues your audience, gain a powerful marketing tool that offers dozens of uses, website, video sharing sites, social media, email, DVDs, direct mail, lobby video, resumes, profile building, all that kind of stuff. Association with the nationally syndicated celebrity. That's right. And let's talk about AHA Studios. AHA is a strategic marketing firm that leverages the powerful and visual persuasion to help your business create powerful messages that connect with your target market. AHA ventures way beyond strategy, delivering the marketing collateral you need to start driving a new business through your doors. AHA has a full-service, in-house, state-of-the-art production studio to bring your messages to life using video. Discover how to make The Interview work for you. Call 949-831-2222. That's 949-831-2222. AHA Image Studios, Incorporated. Dr. Stephen Tidwell, Gentle Family Dentistry in a caring, personalized environment. Here at Dr. Tidwell's office, we are dedicated to helping you keep your teeth healthy. We are a state-of-the-art dental practice that still believes in traditional values, such as excellent customer service and individual attention. We have a special welcoming offer for you for just $39, a complete exam, personal consultation, professional cleaning, and all necessary x-rays. That's a $266 value for $39. Dr. Tidwell has 2 convenient locations and experienced staff to provide you with professional care and personal attention that you deserve. Call today. Don't delay. A great smile another day. Call 909-944-7308. That's 909-944-7308 for Rancho Cucamonga or San Bernardino. Joel Saltzman is Dr. Wireless. He has turned his considerable expertise into consumer credit risk and wireless security into a highly specialized independent web-based consulting enterprise targeting consumer credit risk analysis and wireless transactional security and monitoring. He works as a wireless analyst, veteran independent agent, and consumer liaison for most wireless telecom carriers and equipment manufacturers. For more than 20 years, corporate and private clients and media audiences have counted on his unvarnished advice while weighing the technology, performance, and cost differences between Sprint, Nextel, AT&T, Verizon, and T-Mobile. Joel specializes in setting up mobile wireless hotspots to be used for disaster preparedness, business continuity, and mobile wireless merchant processing solutions. Call Dr. Wireless at 310-400-4900 or go to his webpage at drwireless.com. Again, call 310-400-4900 or his webpage at drwireless.com. You'll be glad you did. And now, back to our show.
The story you are about to see is true. The names have been changed to protect the innocent.
Okay, here we are, my favorite part of the show, the IRS loses. And you know what, just sends chills up and down my spine. But you know what, before we get to it, matter of fact, let's get to it right now, because I have a sneaking suspicion Sean's going to call in a little early, and if he does, I'm going to get him right on the air. So the first case is the IRS cannot seize a home, get this, that the debtors have not even owned for 20 years. Makes sense to me, doesn't it to you? Now, Thomas and Joanne Town lost their home in a mortgage foreclosure 20 years ago. But the home buyers let them stay in it as tenants, as did a succession of later buyers, with the current owner being the Towns' friend and lawyer, Peter Swan. The Towns now owe back taxes. The IRS put a lien on the home to collect the tax bill, saying that they really own it, with Swan's title to it being a sham on their behalf. Swan protested, went to tax court. That's what the judge said. The Towns unquestionably lost ownership of the home 20 years ago, so a lien cannot be placed upon it to pay their taxes. And if there was any impropriety between them and Swan, the IRS didn't show it, so Swan escapes the lien. That's the way it ought to be. Shame on the IRS. Just shame on them, the stuff they try to pull off. Well, here's another one for you. Get ready for this one. The IRS thought police lose out in the Supreme Court. Yeah, listen to this. Michael Boulware was convicted of criminal tax evasion for taking large amounts of money out of a corporation that he controlled and giving it to his girlfriend while using money laundering schemes to hide the money from the IRS and his wife, by the way. Now, at trial, Boulware's lawyer argued that the money taken from the corporation was a tax-free return of capital that Boulware had previously contributed to it, since the business at the time had no earnings or profits from which to pay any taxable distributions. Both the trial court and Court of Appeals rejected this argument because there was no evidence that Boulware believed the money was tax-free when he took it. Rather, they said his belief at the time was that he was committing a tax crime, and that was the evidence of the crime. So he went to the United States Supreme Court, and this is what they did. They reversed that. They said, if the money Boulware had taken was in fact tax-free, he cannot be convicted for mistakenly believing he was taking taxable money. In fact, the IRS itself frequently argues that substance trumps belief in the reverse situation. When owners take the distributions from corporations that they believe to be tax-free, but which the IRS deems to be taxable dividends, the tax code requires that tax liability be imposed on the basis of facts wholly independent of intent in such cases. Otherwise, the IRS could obtain a tax evasion conviction even when a defendant owed no tax. So the conviction is overturned. And that's exactly what you would expect to have happen. That's what I would expect to have happen. And that's exactly what happened. Now, let's talk about the IRS splits this particular case. There was a loss deduction allowed on a home workshop. Let me explain it to you. Now, a couple's home was appraised at $199,000 when they spent $16,000 adding an attached workshop to it. They sold the home 2 years later for $203,000. The home sale was tax-free, but the couple claimed a loss on the sale of the workshop, while the IRS said that they actually had a gain. The IRS says the workshop held 9% of the home space, so 9% of the sales price was allocable to it, more than $18,000. Now, the couple says the workshop added only $4,000 to the value of their home, so its sale value was only that much. And the court said when the couple sold the home, the real estate agent obtained 2 appraisals of it that gave an average value of the workshop at $6,500, and that is going to be the value that is going to be used. So, got a split decision here, sort of like Solomon saying split the kid, right? Well, here we go. Let's talk about inside the IRS. Oh yeah, where do you get this one? Now, this is a tax-deferred accounts actually pay off. Now, you got to put your thinking cap on because this gets a little detailed. Can you withdraw more from a tax-deferred account than you can from a taxable account? Well, the answer is yes, if your retirement fund lives up to historic expectations. Assume that an individual has $4,000 of income available annually, now on a pre-tax basis anyway, to save for retirement. He is in a 25% combined federal and state tax bracket, so after taxes, he can only afford to contribute $3,000 annually to the taxable account, because the rest of it goes in taxes. Now, naturally, if the individual contributes to a 401k account and receives the full benefit of his tax deduction, the entire $4,000 will be contributed to the account. Let's also assume that inflation is 3% and that the contributions will grow with inflation. We also assume typical rates of return of 10% for stocks, 5% for bonds, and a 70% stock, 30% bond portfolio rebalanced each year. Now, after 30 years of contributions, a taxable account would have grown to $149,800 and a 401k account to $215,800, almost 50% larger. The result? The retirement withdrawals from a tax-deferred account can be about 10% or more larger than those from a taxable account. For example, let us say that one can withdraw 4.5% from the 401k account and only 4% from the taxable account. That means for the first year, the individual can withdraw $9,100 from the tax-deferred account and only $6,000 from that taxable account. Now, even though withdrawals from a tax-deferred account are taxed, the individual will likely end up with considerably more after-tax spending money if his assets grew in the tax-deferred account. This is particularly true if his marginal income tax rate during retirement is significantly lower than it was during his working years. Now, do not go away, because when we come back, can you guess? Yep, we're going to be with our own Sean LaFave in his Geared for Wellness Corner. Don't go away. We'll be right back. If you want to increase your client base and sales, then consider this, the Relationship Building Network at RBN. Given the current economic conditions and challenges, we all need to work smarter, make smarter decisions, invest our hard-earned dollars where it'll yield the best return for our investment. Many business professionals claim that the most effective networking group in Orange County is RBN. No other networking group or organization can offer what RBN offers. Make every year your best year. Join RBN and start reaping the benefits today. You know, nearly 3,000 businesses have joined RBN and experienced those benefits. Why join RBN? It's one group. It's one membership. It's no renewals. It's all through Orange County. RBN is a freestyle networking group. No mandatory attendance, no restrictions, no rules, and no penalties. Call them at 949-830-5776 or go to their website at rbninfo.com. That's 949-830-5776. If you've ever dreamed of having your own business to make your life secure, you know, Water's Edge Wineries might be just the ticket. In 2004, their founder, Ken Lineberger, created the first winery franchise in California. It was a new concept with all of the functionality of a traditional winery, but without the vineyards. They purchased high-quality grape must from one of the largest winemaking companies in the world. Then they craft each wine carefully and bottle it right at their location. The winery was built to satisfy consumer demand for wine by the bottle and by the glass, but still kept the element of allowing customers to bottle their own custom vintage. Now, they're opening urban wineries across the United States under the brand Water's Edge Wineries. If you've ever dreamed of owning your own winery, it may be in reach right now through Water's Edge Wineries. Just give them a call at 909-468-9463, extension 700. That's Water's Edge Wineries, 909-468-9463. Have you ever found yourself caught between a rock and a hard place? The law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett might be just the answer for you. The attorneys of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett have been serving the Inland Empire since 1989. They're dedicated to the aggressive litigation of civil, criminal, and real estate matters. Over the years, they have recovered tens of millions of dollars for their clients. The firm's practice specializes in litigation of personal injury, accident, slip and fall, real estate, and criminal law cases. The firm provides clients with the care, accuracy, and dedication of experienced attorneys. Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett is located at 10300 4th Street, Suite 150 in Rancho Cucamonga, California. They've been providing the Inland Empire residents with outstanding legal services for over 25 years. They look forward to providing you with aggressive legal representation. Call them at 909-945-5000, where you can talk to a person, not a machine. That's 909-945-5000, the law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett. And now let's get back to our show where we talk about politics, money, and you. And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. We're at 4:34 p.m. Pacific time. Currently 94 degrees here in the heart of the Inland Empire in sunny Southern California. You know what? The low is not going to be that low either. It's going to be 69 degrees, a lot more pleasant than 94. But you know what? Talking about raising the temperature around here, we're going to do that right now. He's waiting in the wings. I haven't got a clue what he's going to talk about. Probably mercury. He's been trying to talk about mercury for a couple of weeks. But we'll see what it's all about here in 1 second. Let's get him in here. And now, ladies and gentlemen, coming to you from his personal meditation lounge in Orange County, California, a professional dedicated to conquering many chronic conditions from autism to weight loss and everything in between. The nationally recognized wellness coach, consultant, and lecturer, Sean Lefebvre, in his Geared for Wellness Corner. Hey, Sean, welcome aboard, my friend. How are you doing this fine summery day?
I'm doing awesome, Robert. It's in the upper 70s, which is exactly where it's sunny, blue skies. It should be like this every single day of the year.
Upper 70s?
Right out. But
we're in the upper. The high today was 98 out here.
Yeah, that's why I don't live there. That's why I just wait until the evening time when it cools down, and then I come visit you and you make really good food, and then I go home. So that's heat, man. I tell you what, they say that, I've always heard you get older and people get more cold intolerant. I'm like, I get more heat intolerant. Especially if there's that humidity. I know we talked about this.
Well, it's not too. It's not too humid here.
I love the weather here. Now I understand why Orange County is so expensive. It's because you pay for what you're paying for is the weather. That's pretty much it.
Yeah, you know what? As much as you love Orange County, what I love about the Inland Empire is that we have the Orange County without the traffic.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I tell you what, some days I get on the freeway and I forget where I'm going and I forget what time I'm going there. And all of a sudden I get on the freeway and I realize, oh man, I'm heading north on the 405 or heading south on the 405, which is even worse, at 4:30 in the afternoon. And, my trip that I thought was going to take 20 minutes now turned into 35 or 40.
Well, that's the unfortunate thing about it. And I was saying that about Orange County, because the truth is it's bad everywhere. I don't think there is any longer is a time of day or a day of the week where it is good to get on the highway or the freeway. Traffic is...
And I don't get that, because I remember, I was gone from California for about 25 years, and I would come visit, and my best friend growing up, I've known this guy for over 30 years, and he lives down in Carlsbad, north of San Diego County, and I can remember 10 years ago even, it wasn't that long ago, I could fly into LAX, and I could literally drive almost any time that I flew into LAX. It wasn't like late night flights. LAX, a lot of the flights from the Midwest land like mid morning, and I could drive from LAX to his house in Carlsbad and pretty much do 80 miles an hour the entire way. It was, very few exceptions. Maybe it would bottleneck once in a while. Yeah. But now that same trip would take, 2.5 hours, and you'd be lucky if you got up to 65, 60.
These days, I think, Sean, you have to be a mathematician to figure out how long it's going to take you to get to a pre-planned destination. If you're going to go someplace out for dinner and it's going to be a restaurant that's a little more removed from where your house is, you need to do some serious planning, because your GPS is not going to be accurate when it tells you how long it should take you to get there.
No, it's not. It's a whole lot better than what I would guess, because they're there with these Google Maps and the Waze guys, and they predict, okay, this is where it's bottlenecked. You can see, they put the red areas where they're congested in the middle of the day in a work week. The entire freeway system throughout the greater LA area is all just red. Everything's just red.
Yeah.
And it's nuts. But anyway.
Hey, so listen, there's a lot of controversy going on right now with regard to this nuclear deal. Do you have an opinion about it?
I guess if you want to look at history, look what happened with Korea, and it's not. I don't trust them. I mean, it's Iran. Let's just start with that.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I don't – yeah, you can't trust them. The only problem is, when I'm typing at the same time I'm talking to you, that's why I sound like I'm weird, right? I don't trust them. They're not our friend. They're never been our friend, and they're never going to be our friend. But
right.
We have a choice, I think, and the choice that we have is that we either enter into a deal that we can police that extends the time that they can get a nuclear weapon to create such horrible havoc, and we can extend it out at a minimum of 10 years and maybe 15, who knows what's going on, and we've got enough things in place to police that or to hurt them really bad. We also have a military option that's on the table if they renege. The thing I don't understand is that the controversy is it's not a good enough deal, not a good enough deal. We didn't get our hostages out of there. We didn't get any other concessions from them. Well, we went there to stop the nuclear program. We got that accomplished. And the people that are complaining, saying we shouldn't have done this, I guess they want this sound instead of the sound of peace.
That I agree. That's exactly what they want.
Yeah.
I mean, there's even a side of me. Of course, I was in the military for 14 years, and there's a side of me that says, well, if you guys want nukes, let's send a couple over to them. Let them have them. But that's probably not a really good solution. But I don't think there's a solution that's going to make the majority happy ever.
No.
Everybody's going to be unhappy. I mean, it would be great to get our hostages back. Would that be hard to negotiate? I don't know. But you're right. We went there. The whole point was to stop them from getting nuclear weapons. We didn't stop it. We delayed it.
Yeah.
Sorry. Maybe things will change in the next 10 years. I doubt it.
Except that they would have had it in a year, and now they can't have it for at least 10 years. And if they break this deal, we slap these sanctions right back up against them. We do the military action that we've got on the table to go in there. Even the sanctions that we're removing, that everybody's complaining about, they're expiring anyway. They were going to get this money anyway. And I was on John Matthews' show last night, and they were just really complaining because we're giving Iran $100 billion. I said, we're not giving Iran $100 billion. That's their money. It's not our money we're giving them. That's their money. And we've crushed their economy. Their people are starving to death. They have no infrastructure. They can't do anything. And they're saying, well, yeah, they're going to send it. They're going to support terrorism. I said, yeah, probably some of it, but most of it's got to go to the infrastructure. And $100 billion to run a country the size of Iran is nothing. So it's not going to go that far.
And I agree with you on that exactly. That's the unfortunate part about sanctions like that is it doesn't hurt the people in power. It doesn't hurt the decisions they're going to make. They're still, they were still building a nuclear weapon.
Yeah.
They'll just let the rest of the people, they'll let the common people starve. They don't care. It's just that's just the way it is. And are they going to still try to build a nuclear weapon faster than what we? Of course they are.
Oh yeah, they're going to try. They're going to try and sneak through it, and hopefully we put safeguards enough in there that'll stop it. But you know what? I'm not happy about North Korea having a nuclear weapon either. I don't think I'm real happy about Israel having nuclear weapons.
I'm a lot more comfortable with Israel having it. Of course, the way our leadership is going right now, Israel's going to become our enemy if they keep talking trash about them the way they do.
Yeah.
And I don't understand why the president that we have right now seems to snub Israel so much.
Unfortunately, I think it's a two-way street. I think there is a horrible, horrible personality conflict between Bibi Netanyahu and President Barack Obama. There is a huge conflict there. Now, in the background, we are still supporting them. If somebody ever attacked Israel, we'd have to be on top of them. That's the agreement that we have, and so that's what's going to happen. I think that we were wrong to let the president of Israel come and talk to Congress in objection to what the president was trying to negotiate. In the talk that I had last night, or the part of the conversation I had, the dialogue I had last night, people were complaining it was a bad deal and we ought to do this and we ought to do that. And I said, so what's the alternative? What is the alternative to stopping them from getting a nuclear weapon? He says, we ought to just blow them off the face of the earth. I says, oh, yeah, now that's a good deal. we're in the middle of the Middle East. We don't belong there to start with. And what you want to do is to annihilate an entire people, an entire country. That sounds an awful lot to me like 1941 Germany, for Pete's sake. What makes us any better than anybody else?
No. It's not a solution.
No.
It's a solution, but it's not a good one.
No. I think the good one is if you can tie their hands and make them toe the mark. Even though we know that some of the money that they're going to get is going to go to support terrorism, we're going to continue fighting terrorism, no doubt about that. And some of the money, the majority of that money is going to go to their infrastructure and their people. It has to. So, you know what? If they screw it up, shame on them. If we screw it up, shame on us. And if we're so intractable, if we are so much more like them than we are the people of the United States that we want to be so proud of, then shame on us.
Sounds good to me. I can't even argue with that. You're right.
You know, somebody has got to be the peacemaker, not the warmonger.
Yeah, and that's I think that's really the big issue that even the people who say I want to go over and just nuke them off the face of the planet is they go, these people, these countries that they're full of these terrorists, they don't ever want to negotiate. They don't want peace. You try to make peace, the whole tactic of Gandhi and peaceful resistance against the British, that worked because the British didn't have the mentality of, well, if you don't agree with us, we'll just slit your throat.
Yeah.
Where you've got these radical Islamists out there that's their philosophy. If you don't agree with us, even if you're a peaceful person, we'll still come slit your throat. You don't have to attack us. You don't have to be a threat. You just have to disagree with us. You just have to, praise Jesus and deny Allah, and we'll slit your throat. And I think, now I get to play devil's advocate with you. And that I think is the argument of the people who go, they don't deserve these weapons. We need to make sure that we keep them out of their hand, and we do everything either that's sending in the military and destroying every chance they have of making them. And that's obviously not the best solution, but it's a scary thought to think that not exist for some of the people we're fighting against.
Yeah, absolutely.
We're going to our break. When we come back from our break, we're going to talk about something that I think is probably going to be even more controversial than the Iran nuke deal.
Oh, then don't say what it is. Let's hold everybody in abeyance so that they have no clue, so that when we come back we can surprise them. How's that?
Well, I'll do this. I'm going to stop with a question. I want you to think about this over the break. What are the top 3 killers in the United States right now? Top 3 causes of death in America.
Okay.
And then we'll talk about that when we come back from our break.
And we'll be right back with our own Sean LaFave and his Geared for Wellness Corner right after these brief messages. Do not go away. Isn't it time to shine the spotlight on your expertise? The Interview, starring you. Here's your chance to capture 5 minutes of fame with The Interview. This isn't just any interview. This is your opportunity to showcase your expertise and position yourself as a trusted expert in a one-on-one video interview hosted by Robert Cardoza, host of the nationally syndicated show Robert Cardoza Live and powered by AHA Studios. What is it? A professionally recorded video for your use. Robert Cardoza interviews you on the set where he records his show. Professional interview showcases your expertise and value, shot in a state-of-the-art studio. And what's in it for you? Gain credibility as an expert, earn the trust of your target market, educate in a way that intrigues your audience, gain a powerful marketing tool that offers dozens of uses, website, video sharing sites, social media, email, DVDs, direct mail, lobby video, resumes, profile building, all that kind of stuff. Association with the nationally syndicated celebrity. That's right. And let's talk about AHA Studios. AHA is a strategic marketing firm that leverages the powerful in visual persuasion to help your business create powerful messages that connect with your target market. AHA ventures way beyond strategy, delivering the marketing collateral you need to start driving a new business through your doors. AHA has a full-service, in-house, state-of-the-art production studio to bring your messages to life using video. Discover how to make The Interview work for you. Call 949-831-2222. That's 949-831-2222. AHA Image Studios, Incorporated. Dr. Stephen Tidwell, Dental Family Dentistry in a caring, personalized environment. Here at Dr. Tidwell's office, we are dedicated to helping you keep your teeth healthy. We are a state-of-the-art dental practice that still believes in traditional values, such as excellent customer service and individual attention. We have a special welcoming offer for you for just $39, a complete exam, personal consultation, professional cleaning, and all necessary x-rays. That's a $266 value for $39. Dr. Tidwell has 2 convenient locations and experienced staff to provide you with professional care and personal attention that you deserve. Call today. Don't delay. A great smile another day. Call 909-944-7308. That's 909-944-7308 for Rancho Cucamonga or San Bernardino. Joel Saltzman is Dr. Wireless. He has turned his considerable expertise into consumer credit risk and wireless security into a highly specialized independent web-based consulting enterprise targeting consumer credit risk analysis and wireless transactional security and monitoring. He works as a wireless analyst, veteran independent agent, and consumer liaison for most wireless telecom carriers and equipment manufacturers. For more than 20 years, corporate and private clients and media audiences have counted on his unvarnished advice while weighing the technology, performance, and cost differences between Sprint, Nextel, AT&T, Verizon, and T-Mobile. Joel specializes in setting up mobile wireless hotspots to be used for disaster preparedness, business continuity, and mobile wireless merchant processing solutions. Call Dr. Wireless at 310-400-4900 or go to his webpage at drwireless.com. Again, call 310-400-4900 or his webpage at drwireless.com. You'll be glad you did. And now, back to our show. And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. We're talking to our own Sean Lefebvre in his Geared for Wellness Corner. Hey, Sean, you got the microphone.
All right, Robert. So the question was posed before the break. What do you think are the top 3 killers in the United States right now?
Heart disease and cancer.
Yeah, that's 2.
Oh, you said 2, right?
No, I said 3. 3. Like it rhymes.
Then I would say respiratory infection.
Which one?
Then I would say respiratory infection.
Nope, that's not even in the top 3.
Oh, really?
Pretty close. Yep.
Lung disease?
Nope.
Really, I don't know because I'm looking at Google, which is where I looked it up during the break.
Oh, you're looking at the official answers.
Oh. What's the unofficial?
Yeah.
Okay, so give me the unofficial answer.
Exactly. So a study was done back in 2000 it was published in November of 2003, and it was a study done by Dr. Gary Knoll, who's a PhD, at Carolyn Dean, who's a medical doctor and a naturopathic doctor, Martin Feldman, who's a medical doctor, Deborah Rossio, who's another medical doctor, and Dorothy Smith, who's a PhD. And what they did was they took all of the statistics of atriogenicity, which is a word that means basically death or injury, but primarily in this case, death caused by physicians or their advice or their actions, right? And what they found is, here's kind of a synopsis, a breakdown of what they found in their study. It was a huge study. And they found that in 1995, the number of unnecessary antibiotics prescribed annually for viral infections was 20 million. 20 million people were prescribed antibiotics for viral infections. Antibiotics do not work at all for viruses. They only kill bacteria.
Okay, back up. Who then is prescribing the antibiotics for the viral infections when that is the wrong thing to do? Who's doing that? Doctors?
Yeah, thousands and thousands of medical doctors. And I've seen it time. I've had tons of friends, and they go, well, I went to the doctor and I was sick, and the doctor gave me antibiotics. And I go, what do you give me antibiotics for? Well, just in case. I'm like, just in case what? Just in case you came down with some sort of strange bacteria at the same time that you have this viral cold. Most colds are viral. And so these doctors, whatever reason, they think, well, bacteria kills all kinds of stuff, so we'll support, killing off any excess bacteria. And of course, the problem with antibiotics is they kill good bacteria. They kill all bacteria, not just the bad stuff. They can't target. And
Well,
So
my guess is there's even a worse problem than that. If they just arbitrarily are giving antibiotics for viral infections that aren't going to work, doesn't that also create an immunity against the antibiotics so that it's not effective when they really do need it?
And that's exactly what's happening. We've created superbugs. That is exactly what's happening. We've got bacteria out there now, the flesh-eating bacteria that don't even respond to any of the antibiotics that we have. This is a known fact. You can read about this in medical journals. We know for a fact, without a doubt, medical doctors will tell you that we have so overused antibiotics that we have created these new strains of bacteria that are totally impervious to the stuff. It doesn't touch them at all. They eat it up and spit it out, and it's a bad situation we've gotten in. We have created a huge problem of antibiotic resistant bacteria out there. So this is a known problem.
So Sean, wouldn't it be malpractice for a doctor to prescribe antibiotics for a virus?
You would think, but it goes back to with doctors you have to prove intent, and you have to prove that there was typically, unless a doctor does something with malintent, they went out there intentionally to do something wrong, and you can prove that. It's really hard to even mistakes, are hard to prove. To go, oh well, the doctor will justify. Well, I gave them because I was concerned that maybe they might have had XYZ bacterial issue going on as well, and so just in case I gave this, and so they can justify it, even though it's really not truly justified. There was a doctor in when I was in college. I remember reading about this guy. He was up in Denver, and he fell asleep. He was the guy that ran the heart and lung machine, and which is a pretty important job when you're in the middle of a surgery because that's what keeps you alive. And I guess it's pretty delicate machine. You can't just flip it on the switch and walk away from it. It's got to be constantly monitored and tweaked and stuff throughout the surgery. And he had been reprimanded, I think, 4 times before this incident of falling asleep during surgery. And finally, he at least 4 times, it's documented. And he finally killed a woman. She died on the operating table because he fell asleep during surgery and didn't make the changes he needed to the machine. And I remember reading about this. There were no charges brought up against him, legal charges, and I don't think he even lost his job, if I remember correctly. This was 20-something years ago. And so, when a doctor makes mistakes, it's very difficult to prove that what that doctor did falls under the lines of malpractice.
Isn't it? It's just hard. It's hard to comprehend the person who's responsible for running a heart-lung machine in an operating room where in that operating theater there's probably, 6, 8 people in there. You'd think somebody would see this idiot nodding off and kick him in the shins or something.
Well, I'm sure that's probably what happened most of the time, and so that's why when I said he was written up only 4 times, but there was probably other times when someone said, hey, dude, you snap out of it, wake up. But 4 times he was written up, and finally a woman died on an operating table because of him. And the unfortunate part is hospitals want to protect their reputation. And so if something like this is proven that they've got a doctor who's falling asleep, well, think about what it does to the hospital as a whole. So anytime a doctor makes a mistake, especially in a large group like that, the hospital is in their best interest to cover it up. And, I hate to use this example, and I don't want to get off on this tangent, but think about what the Catholic Church did anytime a priest was charged with child molestation. They just shipped him off to a different parish.
Yeah.
And really, that's the medical community, unfortunately, is no different. Hospitals have a vast financial interest in making sure that their reputation stays intact. And if they find out that doctors are cutting the wrong limbs off, or doctors are falling asleep during surgery, or doctors are, sewing people up and they leave tools inside, all this stuff is things that happen. It's a mark against, so they do everything they can to cover it up. And so this study really kind of digs into that. And I'm going to read through these 2 real quick. The number of people having in-hospital adverse drug reactions, This is in a year. 2.2 million people having drug reactions in just a year. In 2003, this year, in 2003 refers to tens of millions of unnecessary antibiotics. That's what I just read about the antibiotic stuff. the number of unnecessary medical and surgical procedures performed annually is 7.5 million. That's unnecessary. The ones that they're saying this really wasn't necessary. 7.5 million a year, surgical and medical procedures. Number of people exposed to unnecessary hospitalization is 8.9 million per year. Total number of iatrogenic deaths. Now, I'm going to come back to that one. In 2001, which is around the same time they did this study, the annual death rate from heart disease was 699. So let's say 700,000. I'm going to round off these numbers and make it easy for us. So 700,000 people died in 1 year from heart disease. So you're right on that one. Cancer, 553,000 people died. And the death rate of iatrogenic deaths, that means deaths caused by a physician, something in the system, in the medical system, drugs, all that stuff, 783,000 people, actually 784 if you want to round it up.
Jeez.
And you know, you look at these numbers and you go, how is this, even if the numbers are half that, which they're not, these are real numbers, they go down and they break them down later on. They've got a whole adverse drug reactions, so over 100,000 people die of drug reactions a year on average. And this is over 10 years ago. And the projections are the numbers just keep going up and up. Medical error, basically a doctor making a mistake, 98,000 per year. 115,000 people die every year from bed sores. Now, granted, these are people who are already in bad shape anyway.
Well, you know, I think I've always been under the impression that everybody dies when their heart stops.
You know, that's pretty much it. Everybody dies of heart failure, exactly.
You know, but bed sores, I'm not getting that. Why would you die from because the infection becomes systemic?
Yeah, I would assume that would be why. And actually even goes on to say infections are 88,000.
And let me take you back a corner, because you had said something before about the bad reactions to medications that are given. You know, and unfortunately, I've been in the hospital a few times, and or fortunately not too many. And they always ask you, are you allergic to any drugs? Have you taken any of this? Have you ever had any of that? And I suppose if you haven't taken any medications, you just say, I don't know. I have never taken any drugs that I've been allergic to. But if you are allergic to some, you know it, and you would say so, right?
Yeah, if you know you're allergic, yeah, you would tell them so. And sometimes it's not even an allergic reaction. It's maybe that your body just couldn't tolerate that at that level, or that it interacted with another drug that you had in your system, or it could be. It's not really that it's necessarily an allergic reaction. It's just it's like literally the number one cause of accidental death for decades was automobile accidents. And it was about 40,000 people a year. It was pretty much, and it stayed really consistent for a long time. Right now, the number one cause of accidental death, meaning not natural causes, is drug overdose, and the vast majority of those are from prescription overdose, and especially painkillers.
Now, are those from abusers, or are those from people that are taking the medication that was prescribed for them for a necessity?
Yeah, it's a combination of all of those. It's a combination of legal and illegal drugs, and it's a combination of people who are using drugs, whether legal or otherwise, and those who are taking. Like this study here says that, you know, adverse drug reactions, over 100,000 people a year die of legally prescribed medications because they had an adverse reaction to it. I mean, in this business, you know, the average person isn't going to go around talking to people and hearing their stories. But, you know, I talk about, because I've been teaching this theory here, which is no longer a theory, but I've been teaching this for years, that the medical system is killing more people than diseases are. And the more I talk about this, the more I get people to go, yeah, my sister died because she had a reaction. I had a patient that her heart stopped because she was given, oh my gosh, I can't think of what it's a morphine derivative anyway, in a hospital. But I've known several people that have had family members who have died, or people who have had serious reactions from drugs, legally prescribed, properly prescribed drugs. But we're out of time, so what I'm going to use this for, I'm going to sidestep, and I'm going to say, what we need to look for. The reason I say this isn't to scare the hell out of people, but to get people to make informed, intelligent decisions on their health care. Next week, next Tuesday, we're going to have a guest on. Her name is Angelica Wagner, and she does some amazing stuff with healing people with brain tumors, and I won't get into it because we don't have time, but it's non-invasive. It's an awesome, awesome alternative to what's going on in the medical world, and her stuff is being praised all over.
Well, I've listened to her many times, and it's going to be a phenomenal interview. I'm looking forward to it. So that's next Tuesday on your slot.
Yep, absolutely.
Hey, my friend, in the meantime, have a wonderful weekend. I'll be talking to you soon. This was a terrific segment.
All right, thanks, Robert. I'll talk to you soon.
All right, have a good one. Now, do not go away. Waiting in the wings is my good buddy John Matthews with the Conservative Syndicate Corner. We'll be right back with John, and God only knows what we're going to talk about right to these brief messages. Don't go away. If you want to increase your client base and sales, then consider this, the Relationship Building Network at RBN. Given the current economic conditions and challenges, we all need to work smarter, make smarter decisions, invest our hard-earned dollars where it'll yield the best return for our investment. Many business professionals claim that the most effective networking group in Orange County is RBN. No other networking group or organization can offer what RBN offers. Make every year your best year. Join RBN and start reaping the benefits today. You know, nearly 3,000 businesses have joined RBN and experienced those benefits. Why join RBN? It's one group. It's one membership. It's no renewals. It's all through Orange County. RBN is a freestyle networking group. No mandatory attendance, no restrictions, no rules, and no penalties. Call them at 949-830-5776 or go to their website at rbninfo.com. That's 949-830-5776. If you've ever dreamed of having your own business to make your life secure, you know Water's Edge Wineries might be just the ticket. In 2004, their founder, Ken Leinberger, created the first winery franchise in California. It was a new concept with all of the functionality of a traditional winery, but without the vineyards. They purchased high-quality grape must from one of the largest winemaking companies in the world. Then they craft each wine carefully and bottle it right at their location. The winery was built to satisfy consumer demand for wine by the bottle and by the glass, but still kept the element of allowing customers to bottle their own custom vintage. Now, they're opening urban wineries across the United States under the brand Water's Edge Wineries. If you've ever dreamed of owning your own winery, it may be in reach right now through Water's Edge Wineries. Just give them a call at 909-468-9463, extension 700. That's Water's Edge Wineries, 909-468-9463. Have you ever found yourself caught between a rock and a hard place? The law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett might be just the answer for you. The attorneys of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett have been serving the Inland Empire since 1989. They're dedicated to the aggressive litigation of civil, criminal, and real estate matters. Over the years, they have recovered tens of millions of dollars for their clients. The firm's practice specializes in litigation of personal injury, accident, slip and fall, real estate, and criminal law cases. The firm provides clients with the care, accuracy, and dedication of experienced attorneys. Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett is located at 10300 4th Street, Suite 150 in Rancho Cucamonga, California. They've been providing the Inland Empire residents with outstanding legal services for over 25 years. They look forward to providing you with aggressive legal representation. Call them at 909-945-5000, where you can talk to a person, not a machine. That's 909-945-5000, the law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett. And now let's get back to our show where we talk about politics, money, and you. And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. We're at 5:08 p.m. Pacific time, currently 94 degrees here in the heart of the Inland Empire in sunny Southern California. Well, my good buddy John Matthews is waiting in the wings, and you know what? You're going to love everything he has to say. You may not agree with him, but you're going to love what he has to say because he's an articulate man. And you need to listen to John on his show every Monday through Wednesday from 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. Pacific time. And just go to his website at theconservativesyndicate.net, and you can listen live from there or listen to his archive shows from there. I got to tell you, he's got a great show. He's patient with all of us that don't necessarily agree with everything he thinks. But he listens, and he'll argue with you, but he'll make sense. You know what? Let's not waste any more time because we got to get him in here and see what the subject is for today. Let's get him in here. And now, ladies and gentlemen, coming to you from the basement of his strategic planning room located at his political hideaway in Los Angeles County, the dedicated man who stands and serves the political conscience of our nation, Mr. John Matthews. Hey, John, welcome aboard. I know you've been on the line waiting for a while. I'm glad to have you here with me. I got to tell you, I was on your show last night. I don't often lose control, but I guess I lost it last night. But you were a very patient host with me, and I wanted to tell you how much I appreciated that.
Well, it's very seldom that you lose control, and I'm always losing control, so it seemed like it kind of balanced out yesterday.
So listen, I went out and I got this sound effect just for you. Let me just do that real quick. Okay, now that I got that out of my system, John, what do you want to talk about today?
Oh, well, I think right now on my radar is the resolution submitted by Mark Meadows to have John Boehner vacate the seat of the House.
Is that the most damn ridiculous thing you ever heard of in your life?
No,
not that I like John Boehner. It's just that it's not going to happen. Here, today, John. Let me tell you what I'm ticked off about. Today, Congress is leaving on a 5-week vacation, and they're worried about Boehner. How about everything else that's going on in the world, and these idiots are going to take a 5-week vacation?
Well, there's certainly it is not something at this juncture that should be the main topic. Actually, I think this probably should have gone down back in January when Congress first came into session. I know there was a move at that time to try to do that. They actually took a vote, and I think Boehner had the biggest opposition we've had in decades as far as being reelected as Speaker. I think there was a total of 22 to 25 Republican members of the House that voted him, didn't want him as Speaker. But I do find heart in it. We're kind of at this place right now where one of the things that we have to kind of keep our eyes on is not necessarily, the issues are the issues, for sure. We've got some major things out there right now. The Iran deal, the Planned Parenthood fiasco, all these things. These are important things. But we sometimes have to, things like the situation with Boehner kind of puts a perspective on things. It kind of, we got the media right now wanting so much to sensationalize the infighting of the GOP, the candidates, how unqualified Trump is compared to how qualified Bush is, that kind of stuff. But sometimes an issue like this can really kind of, for those of us on the right, can kind of bring everything back full circle and get a focus here. I think I don't think this is the last time it's going to happen. That's my point. And I think that some of the conservatives have been able to pinpoint a strategy that the left uses quite successfully, and that is that you continue to push your agenda. And so I expect to see more of this. I don't know if the thing will come to a vote. I understand that Boehner has been advised by his cronies not to let it go to vote because he might be embarrassed. That little faction in there is growing, and but it does play to a bigger thing. And the reason I'm not really talking about the resolution itself, but what it indicates. As I was reading the resolution and chuckling like everybody else, it's kind of like spitting into the wind kind of stuff.
Yeah.
It dawned on me as I was, because it was right at the same time I'd been reading some stuff on McConnell's move to vote on the bank import-export bill. And what they did was they trapped that thing, or they tapped it, and they attached it to another bill, which was the highway funding bill. And, of course, the vote and everything else was played up on the highway funding bill. We have to have the highway funding bill because we're running out of money. This is kind of like the debt ceiling kind of stuff. We can't shut government down. We got to be able to fund our projects and this and the other. And the banking bill was attached to that in order to get that through, because there were many in the House that didn't really want this that many are referring to this import-export bill as basically welfare for banks. And so they were like, we want to look at this. We want to look at this closer. We want to debate it. We want to be able to talk about it. And it was attached to another bill, which nobody really was going to spend a whole lot of time talking about. So that's a strategy that's used far too often. I'm a firm believer that what we should be doing, there should be no pork attached to any bill. If we got a bill on highway funding, that should be the bill we're voting on, not that and this and this and this.
Oh, I'm with you, John. Putting on these trailers is just a travesty of efficiency. We ought to be voting on one issue. You vote it up or you vote it down and get rid of it and move along. But this having an important issue to deal with, and then tacking all this other non-related stuff to it that kills the deal. And again, today Congress kicked that can down the road for about 3 months while they go on their 5-week vacation. Because they had these attachments to it. You're absolutely right, John. You're right on point.
Yeah, I'm almost, my cynicism is getting such that I'm almost like I would just as soon pay these guys not to come to work. It's kind of like keeping that all-star outfielder on your ball team because you don't want him playing for the other team.
Yeah.
It's kind of like, I pay these guys to stay home because everything they touch, turns to crap. So, but what I'm getting at here is the revelation that just came to me suddenly. I'm like, this is something we hear all the time now, is that we're coming up on a deadline, or we're running out of money, and then all of a sudden it dawned on me, why is that? Why is everything being put off to the last minute?
And you're right. I mean, everything, John, is always a midnight vote, right? Everything is always a last-minute vote. It's an emergency. Got to get it passed. Why the heck can't they get their act together and get it done efficiently?
It's actually become a strategy, and the strategy is just like this. We have this bill that we got to get through for the import-export. We know this is going to have opposition, so let's attach it to another bill. Let's hold all this stuff off to the last minute, and then we have to rush, and so it's actually become a strategy by the GOP in particular, where we have Obama saying we got to get this done now. The Republican Party is always saying let's wait till the last minute, and what it allows them to do is to get these controversial things through without debate, in a lot of cases on a hands up or down vote. And so it's actually become a very viable strategy for the GOP because what it does is it allows them to push things through that maybe they otherwise would not be able to do if there was a debate or if it came to the public eye and could stir up opposition as some of these other issues have. So I started dwelling on it, and I'm thinking, this has become the GOP's way of governing. Let's wait till the last minute, and then let's bunch a crap together. We'll pick one of them as the main theme, and then we'll push everything through at the last minute before we go on recess. And then nobody has any chance to say anything about it, and they get what they want. The other thing they do, which I've noticed, is McConnell's calling for a vote to repeal Obamacare. Well, we know that's going to be about as effective as removing John Boehner from the Speaker's position. But it allows them to say, we're going to vote on something that the public is telling us to vote on, knowing that our vote isn't going to mean anything anyway, because we'll never have enough votes to put it through. So what you have here is you have a GOP leadership actually governing one of two ways. We'll vote no on issues we know we're going to lose anyway, so we can continue to say we're conservatives, and we'll vote yes on issues that are being pushed through at the last minute that nobody will be able to determine what we're doing one way or the other. And by doing that, you now have somebody like a Kevin McCarthy standing up in front of us telling us that this is the most effective Congress we've had in 30 years because they have passed over 200 bills since they've been in session since January. So I'm looking at this and I'm thinking, what are they talking about? What bills are they talking about? I haven't seen any bills.
Yeah, I haven't seen it either. Hey,
No,
hold that thought, John. Let's talk about that when we come back from this commercial break. I can't even begin to get anywhere near 200 bills that got passed.
Oh, you're going to laugh when I tell you.
Okay, well, we'll be right back with our own John Matthews and his conservative syndicate right after these brief messages. Don't go away. Isn't it time to shine the spotlight on your expertise? The Interview, starring you. Here's your chance to capture 5 minutes of fame with The Interview. This isn't just any interview. This is your opportunity to showcase your expertise and position yourself as a trusted expert in a one-on-one video interview hosted by Robert Cardoza, host of the nationally syndicated show Robert Cardoza Live and powered by AHA Studios. What is it? A professionally recorded video for your use. Robert Cardoza interviews you on the set where he records his show. Professional interview showcases your expertise and value, shot in a state-of-the-art studio. And what's in it for you? Gain credibility as an expert, earn the trust of your target market, educate in a way that intrigues your audience, gain a powerful marketing tool that offers dozens of uses, website, video sharing sites, social media, email, DVDs, direct mail, lobby video, resumes, profile building, all that kind of stuff. Association with the nationally syndicated celebrity. That's right. And let's talk about AHA Studios. AHA is a strategic marketing firm that leverages the powerful in visual persuasion to help your business create powerful messages that connect with your target market. AHA ventures way beyond strategy, delivering the marketing collateral you need to start driving a new business through your doors. AHA has a full-service, in-house, state-of-the-art production studio to bring your messages to life using video. Discover how to make The Interview work for you. Call 949-831-2222. That's 949-831-2222. AHA Image Studios, Incorporated. Dr. Stephen Tidwell, Dental Family Dentistry in a caring, personalized environment. Here at Dr. Tidwell's office, we are dedicated to helping you keep your teeth healthy. We are a state-of-the-art dental practice that still believes in traditional values, such as excellent customer service and individual attention. We have a special welcoming offer for you for just $39, a complete exam, personal consultation, professional cleaning, and all necessary x-rays. That's a $266 value for $39. Dr. Tidwell has 2 convenient locations and experienced staff to provide you with professional care and personal attention that you deserve. Call today. Don't delay. A great smile another day. Call 909-944-7308. That's 909-944-7308 for Rancho Cucamonga or San Bernardino. Joel Saltzman is Dr. Wireless. He has turned his considerable expertise into consumer credit risk and wireless security into a highly specialized independent web-based consulting enterprise targeting consumer credit risk analysis and wireless transactional security and monitoring. He works as a wireless analyst, veteran independent agent, and consumer liaison for most wireless telecom carriers and equipment manufacturers. For more than 20 years, corporate and private clients and media audiences have counted on his unvarnished advice while weighing the technology, performance, and cost differences between Sprint, Nextel, AT&T, Verizon, and T-Mobile. Joel specializes in setting up mobile wireless hotspots to be used for disaster preparedness, business continuity, and mobile wireless merchant processing solutions. Call Dr. Wireless at 310-400-4900 or go to his webpage at drwireless.com. Again, call 310-400-4900 or his webpage at drwireless.com. You'll be glad you did. And now, back to our show.
And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza Live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. We're talking to my good buddy John Matthews in his Conservative Syndicate Corner. John, you were going to explain to me how they got 200 bills passed that I don't know anything about?
Well, this will make you just laugh. We had yesterday Kevin McCarthy, who is the majority leader in the House. He took Eddie Cantor's place, and he came out and said that this was basically the second most effective Republican majority Congress in modern history. Now, he's saying that the accountability, he does it by he's gauging this success by the amount of work done in committee. So he says a 30-year average of committee work is 7.4% of bills getting out of committee. And this Congress is at 10-1 rather than 7-1. Okay, so he says we had 200 amendments on the floor, and we passed 190 bills already through Congress. The average is 125. Now, this is where you get into the humor of all this thing. A total of 37 of these bills have been signed into law by President Obama. The 37 bills include 9 naming post offices and federal buildings, 1 awarding gold medals to civil rights activists. We have stuff going out there in terms of recognition, the centennial commemoration of Boys Town. Some of them are technical stuff. The only bills that they have actually passed in terms of funding is the Department of Homeland Security Appropriations Act, which Obama used to fund his executive amnesty order. So, and then they've given him, obviously, more the authority to do the trade bill, the Trans-Pacific Partnership. So all these bills that they're talking about are, the reason we haven't heard about them is because they're not about anything. We're talking about naming federal buildings and issuing medals and commendations and stuff like that, and that is being passed through Congress. And so this is kind of like the jobs number strategy.
You know,
okay,
John,
we lose people. 100,000 people quit looking for jobs.
If that wasn't so depressing, I just cry. That is the most ridiculous thing. You mean to tell me that did you say the minority leader or the majority leader?
He's the majority leader. He is the majority leader in the House of Representatives. He took Cantor's place.
Okay. I cannot believe my ears. I don't know if that didn't make me so mad.
This is not a book right out of the liberal manual. We do something and we claim it's something big when it's actually nothing at all.
Yeah.
And so what they're adopting the leftist strategy for things. Oh, we've passed more bills than anybody. What does Obama say? We're more transparent than anybody.
Yeah, we created a holiday.
And yet when you start looking at how the numbers, and like I said, I used the jobs number thing. We have people quit looking for work. We have people underemployed. And all these, instead of qualifying them as they are, we say, oh, that means that this number of jobs was created. So we just take numbers and we put it in whatever column we want, and we say this is what it means. So they've adapted the same strategy as Obama, is you do nothing and make it sound like you're doing everything. And
that just incenses. I would laugh if I wasn't so mad about that, John.
Yeah, it is. It's funny, but it's not ha-ha funny. It's like, what the hell funny?
Yeah.
You know?
and John, here's the thing, and we pay these guys $172,500 a year for that crap.
Yeah, well, like you said, I pay them $300,000 to stay home.
Yeah.
We get better use of our money, you know?
Yeah.
And so this is, like I said, this all plays into this idea. It's like, every election cycle, we hear things about the last election cycle. McConnell was facing some heavy heat with Matt Bevin down in Kentucky. Mm-hmm. And so what did McConnell draw? What did he pull out of his hat? Well, my conservative voting record is 90%. 90% of the time I vote conservative. Well, you start looking at what he actually voted on as a conservative, and you'll find that was 90% of the stuff he voted on didn't pass, because he knew that it wasn't going to pass, so he could cast that conservative vote and then claim the mantle without having anything to back it up. Now, the 10% that he did vote, that his vote mattered, was all for Obama. It was Obama stuff. It was the amnesty bill. It was the Obamacare. It was the, anything that Obama needed money for. Yeah, we vote for that.
John, so, I was in business for 30 years, and then I worked for big businesses prior to that. And one of the things I learned is that not one of them congressmen would have survived in business under my management authority. I would have fired them all for lack of production. Who the heck pays somebody to accomplish nothing?
Yeah, I agree with you. I spent the better part of 45 years in the workforce. I'm retired now, like you are. Mm-hmm. And I think out of that 45 years, at least 40 of it was spent in middle management. And I'm going to tell you, anybody that had the results that these guys did would have been relegated either to janitor's position or out the door.
Yeah.
Because if you can't produce, my favorite thing, I used to have a big sign on my desk: be good or be gone. That was it. You know, if you can't produce, we don't need you here. That's not what you're about. That's not what you're getting paid for. You're not getting paid to look busy. You're getting paid to be busy.
Yeah.
And being busy means that you need to produce some results. You've got a deadline. This is what I want. You got this amount of time to do it. If you don't, hey, I'll find somebody else that does.
Well, you know what, John? Remember the old saying, if you're not part of the solution, you're part of the problem? Doesn't that actually define what Congress is today?
Well, it goes back to Reagan's quote. Government isn't the solution; it is the problem.
Yeah,
and it is, and people want to downplay that, and they want to. I just what I'm getting at here is how it is that so many of us now, liberals, they have an excuse. They're just inherently stupid. Okay, I don't have any problem with that. But when you're sitting out there telling me that you're a conservative and you hold to conservative values and you support a conservative platform, and then you start seeing things like this, it says that there is no platform here. There is no conservatism at all. I was listening to a gentleman the other day who I actually responded to him, wrote a piece about why he thought Ted Cruz proved why he was not ready for prime time because of the fact he called Mitch McConnell a liar. Well, that's not presidential. I'm like, well, what has this president shown us as presidential? Yeah. What does that have to do with anything? Cruz standing up and
can we talk about that? Can we talk about that for just a second, John? The Senate has rules and the House has rules, and they all have these traditions, and they have all this stuff going on. And they're castigating Cruz for breaking the rules by calling McConnell a liar, to his face when he actually is a liar, and he gives us all this stuff. Why do they have these BS rules that keep them from accomplishing anything? And the truth is once in a while that's what has to happen in a public forum. Somebody's got to get called out for what he really is.
Well, there are no rules that dictate what the conversation has to be. What it is unwritten etiquette. It's kind of like you treat your fellow Congress people or your fellow senators with some kind of unwritten law as to how you respect. Let's not forget our forefathers, our founding fathers, used to have duels with each other over things. I don't agree with you. Go get a gun. Let's settle this right now. So the idea that you call somebody a barefaced liar, I was thinking about that. Harry Truman was an example of somebody that had no problem saying what he meant and didn't hold back on the language or anything else. I don't know where this came up. What it is that it's the honor among thieves.
Yeah,
that's really what it is. Let's not call the other person something that if we look in a mirror we can call ourselves. That's what they mean by etiquette today. I think Cruz, what he's doing right now is I think he's tapping into the mob mentality that Trump has already figured out.
Oh yeah, you know what? There's no question, John. There's no question what Ted Cruz is doing.
He's not going after other candidates. He's going after issues.
Yeah, Ted Cruz is hoping and praying that Donald Trump falls on his face and that Ted Cruz can pick up those followers that Trump has. But if you look at the polls now, there's no question. I'll tell you what. Trump looks pretty strong out there for the GOP. He looks really strong for the nomination. He's making the rest of these guys look like fools because they're politicians. And people like, even though, he's got this brassness about him, there's a part of me that says, you know what? He is successful. He worked hard for his...
He is showing a very clear indication of how a businessman thinks. Think about this. He's already floating who he would put in his cabinet. Now, the one thing about a successful business is what? You find people that can do the job and you put them all around you. You don't have to be the top dog. You don't have to be the show. You got to find the people to do it. He's floating Trey Gowdy out there as an attorney general. You know what a smart decision that would be? That would be awesome to have somebody like a Trey Gowdy as an attorney general.
Yeah.
And so he's out there. He's like, these are the people I would pick to run the show. I'm going to be the clown. I'll be the class clown, but they'll be the guys running the show. That's not stupid.
Yeah, you know what? I forget who I'm quoting, and I wish I could give somebody the credit for it. But someone did once say, "You can accomplish anything you want in this world as long as you don't care who gets the credit." In fact, I think Zig Ziglar said that. You can accomplish anything you want as long as you don't care who gets the credit. And if Donald Trump is smart enough to be in the spotlight, be in the limelight, and pick the top people to run this thing, man, go for it.
Hey, he's got, at this point, he's just as viable as anybody else because, like you said, nobody else really is doing it. I think Cruz is tapping into it. I think Cruz is looking at things and going, here's where the anger's at. And what he's doing is he's going to the Senate floor and he's taking on issues. You know, he went after Kerry yesterday in the committee meeting on Iran and just basically just said the same thing to him. You know, you guys are just lying to us. You're not telling us what's going on. You don't even know what's going on because you're telling us you haven't read this stuff. And, you know, people are saying, well, you know, what about etiquette? Screw the etiquette, man. These people are screwing us crazy. Yeah. And they don't care about how polite they are about it.
You know what? Originally, and I think I even mentioned it to you, I didn't like Ted Cruz. And I still wouldn't vote for him. There's a lot of things I don't like about him. But one of the things I do like about him is he says what he feels. You may not like it, but you don't have to guess about what he's going to say and what he feels and what he believes. The guy just says it. Now, I'll tell you who I think the sleeper is in there. I think John Kasich is the sleeper. He just announced last week, and he's going to make it to this debate.
Well, the debate is going to be an interesting thing because what they've done now is they've set two tiers. You got the top 10 in the polls are going to be in one debate, but before that, they're going to take all the other candidates and put on a debate. I think it's like 5 o'clock our time out here, and then 9 o'clock our time. It might be East Coast time, but what they're going to do is they're going to have two forums to get because they have all these late announcements, and they know that people like Carly Fiorina has a crowd. She has she's only at 1%, but she is articulating a message. They want that out there, so they're actually going to have two tiers now. It's going to be the guys that didn't make the cut and the guys that did. And so we're going to be able to hear. And I would imagine that we're just going to kind of go round robin kind of thing, that the guys in the top 10, as they drop off, the other ones will move up. So who knows at this point?
Oh, yeah.
You know, I think it's great that they're going to give everybody a voice and everybody a chance.
Yeah, they should have.
It's becoming my dark horse.
Yeah, and they should have done that They should have done that from the beginning. Hey, John, you got 30 seconds. I want you to plug your show, buddy.
Okay, go to my website, theconservativesyndicate.net. That's all you need to know. Go there. You can find everything you want to know about us and listen to us. If we're live, as soon as you call the site up, we're on. Otherwise, you'll hear our latest archive. Got all our blogs there, all our information about what we do and who we are. theconservativesyndicate.net.
And you know what? You don't want to miss it. I love listening to John. And John, you always come up with something I hadn't heard before, and you give me some food for thought or fodder, I guess. And I just find it very refreshing. I love listening to you. Have a great weekend, John. Don't forget to give that lovely wife of yours a hug and a kiss from me, will you?
Okay. That's why they call me the Mad Prophet. That's my job.
All right, John. Hey, have yourself a good one, buddy.
All right. Take care. Have a good
All
weekend.
right. Now, don't go away. When we come back, I'm going to give you the birthdays for today. I'm going to give you the secret teachings for your life for today. I'm going to give you the Harvard business tip of the day and interesting but useless facts. You don't want to go away. We got some good stuff. We'll be right back. Don't go away. If you want to increase your client base and sales, then consider this, the Relationship Building Network at RBN. Given the current economic conditions and challenges, we all need to work smarter, make smarter decisions, invest our hard-earned dollars where it'll yield the best return for our investment. Many business professionals claim that the most effective networking group in Orange County is RBN. No other networking group or organization can offer what RBN offers. Make every year your best year. Join RBN and start reaping the benefits today. Nearly 3,000 businesses have joined RBN and experienced those benefits. Why join RBN? It's one group. It's one membership. It's no renewals. It's all through Orange County. RBN is a freestyle networking group. No mandatory attendance, no restrictions, no rules, and no penalties. Call them at 949-830-5776 or go to their website at rbninfo.com. That's 949-830-5776. If you've ever dreamed of having your own business to make your life secure, Water's Edge Wineries might be just the ticket. In 2004, their founder, Ken Leinberger, created the first winery franchise in California. It was a new concept with all of the functionality of a traditional winery, but without the vineyards. They purchased high-quality grape must from one of the largest winemaking companies in the world.
Then they craft each wine carefully and bottle it right at their location. The winery was built to satisfy consumer demand for wine by the bottle and by the glass, but still kept the element of allowing customers to bottle their own custom vintage. Now, they're opening urban wineries across the United States under the brand Water's Edge Wineries. If you've ever dreamed of owning your own winery, it may be in reach right now through Water's Edge Wineries. Just give them a call at 909-468-9463, extension 700. That's Water's Edge Wineries, 909-468-9463. Have you ever found yourself caught between a rock and a hard place? The law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett might be just the answer for you. The attorneys of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett have been serving the Inland Empire since 1989. They're dedicated to the aggressive litigation of civil, criminal, and real estate matters. Over the years, they have recovered tens of millions of dollars for their clients. The firm's practice specializes in litigation of personal injury, accident, slip and fall, real estate, and criminal law cases. The firm provides clients with the care, accuracy, and dedication of experienced attorneys. Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett is located at 10300 4th Street, Suite 150 in Rancho Cucamonga, California. They've been providing the Inland Empire residents with outstanding legal services for over 25 years. They look forward to providing you with aggressive legal representation. Call them at 909-945-5000, where you can talk to a person, not a machine. That's 909-945-5000, the law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett. And now let's get back to our show where we talk about politics, money, and you.
And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. We're at 5:41 p.m. Pacific time. It's currently 92 degrees here in the heart of the Inland Empire in sunny Southern California. When I say sunny, well, the high today was 103. The low is going to be at 68, and that's not all that low if you think about it. But you know what today is? It's July the 30th, and it is somebody's birthday. And this man was born in 1863, died in 1947 as the founder of the Ford Motor Company and father of modern assembly lines used in mass production. He created the middle class in the United States. Happy birthday, Henry Ford. And Buddy Guy, born in 1936, is a 5-time Grammy Award-winning American blues and rock guitarist and singer. Now, this fella was born in 1947, a bodybuilder, an actor, a politician. He was even the 38th governor of the state of California. He's back to being an actor. Happy birthday to Arnold Schwarzenegger. And today in history, in 1954, Elvis Presley makes his debut as a public performer. Boy, we know where that went. And in 1975, here's one. Jimmy Hoffa disappears from the parking lot of the Macus Red Fox restaurant in Bloomfield Hills, Michigan. He is never seen or heard from again. And in 2003 in Mexico, the last old-style Volkswagen Beetle rolls off the assembly line. That was the end of that one. Boy, what an era that was. Wow, it was fantastic. Now, here's the quote for today. It comes from a guy that is gone, but boy, was he terrific. He just made everybody's dreams float out there. And this quote's from Carl Sagan, the astrophysicist. And he says, in order to make an apple pie from scratch, you must first create the universe. Yep, makes sense to me. How about you? Yeah. Now, it's time for our secret daily teaching for your life. And, you know, I'd say it all the time. This is all about a positive mental attitude. And I tell you that in advance so that you can buy into the fact that it is about a positive mental attitude. And that's where you've got to go to appreciate this. Now, let's talk about today's lifestyle tip for the day. The easiest way to transform every aspect of your life on the outside is to dedicate yourself to feeling more and more gratitude every day within you. Whenever you think of it, feel deep feelings of gratitude. Intensify the feelings with the love in your heart, and through the law of attraction, your life will be transformed into the beauty that you have become on the inside. Now, there's the daily teaching for your life. That just makes sense. You just got to make that your own.
Adopt it. All right, time for our Harvard Business Tip of the day. And the management tip today is learn how to read emotions across cultures. You know, we learn to read people's emotions by evaluating their facial expressions, the tone of their voice, and overall demeanor. But these things often don't translate across cultures. For example, someone from the United States, where enthusiasm is admired, may have trouble reading someone from China, where self-control and modesty are the norm. It's important to understand how different cultures show emotion. Observe whether people express their emotions readily or downplay them, or whenever it varies by the situation. Treat emotions as a language that you need to gain fluency in, and learn how to respond constructively when you encounter emotions that are different from your own. If you suggest an idea to your boss and are met with a blank stare instead of a smile, ask a follow-up question to make sure that you understand what he or she is actually thinking. That's a good tip, folks. Just keep that in mind. Well, it is time for interesting but useless facts. So let's see if we can get you chuckling here a little bit. Did you know Imperia, Italy, is the home of the Agnesi Historical Museum of Spaghetti. Yep, it's a historical museum of spaghetti. How about this one? Goulash. Now that's a beef soup originated in Hungary in the 9th century A.D. Isn't that amazing? In the 9th century. How about this? The King of Hearts is the only king without a mustache. I guess I'm going to have to look at a deck of cards. I wasn't even aware of that. Did you know that lacrosse was invented by American Indians? There you go. And the red kangaroo of Australia can jump 27 feet in one bound. Think about that. Wow. Well, did you know that dragonflies can travel up to 60 miles an hour? So, when they're after you, I'm guessing there is no running away from them. Did you know that Australia is the only continent without an active volcano? None at all. There's the thought. How about this? A spider's silk is stronger than steel. Wow. Now, there's a fact for you. How about this one? More than 10% of the world's annual production of salt is used to de-ice American roads. There's a use of salt for you. It's not so good for your blood pressure, but it's great for getting the ice off the roads. Did you know that Houston's Bob Watson scored Major League Baseball's 1 millionth run on May the 4th, 1975? And, most dust particles in your house come from dead skin. Now, you're causing the dust. Maybe we need to dust you off. I think they call that a shower or a bath, huh? 1 in every 2,000 babies is born with a tooth. Born with the tooth. That's kind of interesting. How about this? The average person has 100,000 hairs on his or her head. Each hair grows about 5 inches every year. There's a thought. Did you know that forensic scientists can determine a person's sex, age, and race by examining a single strand of hair? Wow. Think about technology. And then finally, Henry Ford produced the Model T only in black because the black paint available at the time was the fastest to dry. That's the God's awful honest truth. Now, don't go away. When we come back, I'm going to answer your emails. The first one comes from Hamza Rashid from Auburn, Washington, asking about tax-free home gain, and I'll tell you all about it right after these brief messages. Do not go away. Isn't it time to shine the spotlight on your expertise? The Interview, starring you. Here's your chance to capture 5 minutes of fame with The Interview. This isn't just any interview. This is your opportunity to showcase your expertise and position yourself as a trusted expert in a one-on-one video interview hosted by Robert Cardoza, host of the nationally syndicated show Robert Cardoza Live and powered by AHA Studios. What is it? A professionally recorded video for your use. Robert Cardoza interviews you on the set where he records his show. Professional interview showcases your expertise and value, shot in a state-of-the-art studio. And what's in it for you? Gain credibility as an expert, earn the trust of your target market, educate in a way that intrigues your audience, gain a powerful marketing tool that offers dozens of uses, website, video sharing sites, social media, email, DVDs, direct mail, lobby video, resumes, profile building, all that kind of stuff. Association with the nationally syndicated celebrity. That's right. And let's talk about AHA Studios. AHA is a strategic marketing firm that leverages the powerful and visual persuasion to help your business create powerful messages that connect with your target market. AHA ventures way beyond strategy, delivering the marketing collateral you need to start driving a new business through your doors. AHA has a full-service, in-house, state-of-the-art production studio to bring your messages to life using video. Discover how to make The Interview work for you. Call 949-831-2222. That's 949-831-2222. AHA Image Studios, Incorporated. Dr. Stephen Tidwell, Gentle Family Dentistry in a caring, personalized environment. Here at Dr. Tidwell's office, we are dedicated to helping you keep your teeth healthy. We are a state-of-the-art dental practice that still believes in traditional values, such as excellent customer service and individual attention. We have a special welcoming offer for you for just $39, a complete exam, personal consultation, professional cleaning, and all necessary x-rays. That's a $266 value for $39. Dr. Tidwell has 2 convenient locations and experienced staff to provide you with professional care and personal attention that you deserve. Call today. Don't delay. A great smile another day. Call 909-944-7308. That's 909-944-7308 for Rancho Cucamonga or San Bernardino. Joel Saltzman is Dr. Wireless. He has turned his considerable expertise into consumer credit risk and wireless security into a highly specialized independent web-based consulting enterprise targeting consumer credit risk analysis and wireless transactional security and monitoring. He works as a wireless analyst, veteran independent agent, and consumer liaison for most wireless telecom carriers and equipment manufacturers. For more than 20 years, corporate and private clients and media audiences have counted on his unvarnished advice while weighing the technology, performance, and cost differences between Sprint, Nextel, AT&T, Verizon, and T-Mobile. Joel specializes in setting up mobile wireless hotspots to be used for disaster preparedness, business continuity, and mobile wireless merchant processing solutions. Call Dr. Wireless at 310-400-4900 or go to his webpage at drwireless.com. Again, call 310-400-4900 or his webpage at drwireless.com. You'll be glad you did. And now, back to our show.
And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza Live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. We're at 5:52 p.m. Pacific time. It's 92 degrees here in the heart of the Inland Empire in sunny Southern California. Well, we're coming down to the wire. It's time for our emails. I want to caution you, like I always do, that this is an entertainment section of the show, and we try to answer your questions as comprehensively as we can, but a lot of the data you give us sometimes is sketchy, and we can't get back to you for more details. So we always encourage you to contact a licensed professional before you make any decisions on your problems. Now, they're going to save you more money than they cost you. They're certainly going to save you some frustration and peace of mind and some sleep at night, because if they make a mistake, they're required to have errors and omissions insurance. So they make a mistake, they got to pay the piper, not you. So you don't have to worry about that phone call or that registered letter or somebody ringing your doorbell. It's going to be covered. Now, my first email today comes from Hamza Rashid from Auburn, Washington, asking about tax-free home gain, and says, my fiance and I own highly appreciated homes. Can we sell one for $500,000 of tax-free gain immediately after we marry? Then after 2 years, do the same with the other to take a $1 million of tax-free gain in that 2-year period.
Well, Hamza, a single person can sell a home for a tax-free gain of up to $250,000 if he or she owned the home and used it as a primary residence for 2 of the prior 5 years. Now, for a married couple, tax-free gains up to $500,000, and only one spouse must meet the 2 of 5 year ownership test. But both must meet the 2 of 5 year residency test. Now, to sell a home immediately after marrying for $500,000 of tax-free gain, you and your spouse must have both lived in it for 2 years before you married. Otherwise, you'll have to wait 2 years after you marry to make the first sale. Now, you would then have to live in the second home 2 years before you sell that one. So hopefully that answers your question. Next email comes from Jocelyn Rodriguez from Brookings, South Dakota, asking about business banking. And she writes, I have a small sideline business and have run its funds through my personal bank account. Since opening a separate account for it never seemed to be worth the bother. I've been told that this is asking for trouble with the IRS. Have I broken the tax law? Well, Jocelyn, no, you haven't. There is no strict legal requirement that a business proprietor have a separate bank account for the business, but it is highly recommended that business funds be segregated in a separate account. And there's 2 reasons for that. First, it makes business record keeping much easier, especially for an IRS audit. And secondly, if the IRS questions whether the sideline is a real business or just merely a personal hobby or avocation, that's not entitled to a business deduction. A separate bank account for it as part of a business-like set of records is evidence that supports business status. So you're going to want to make sure that you keep all those things straight. You don't want to open yourself up to the IRS, that's for sure. And next email comes from Sabrina Vargas from Waterloo, New Hampshire, asking about retiring abroad. So she says, if I retire abroad in a low-tax country, will I reduce the taxes I owe on income earned from my U.S. bank and investment accounts? And that's a great question, Sabrina. For U.S. citizens, the rules for paying U.S. taxes and filing income, estate, and gift tax returns are generally the same whether residing in the United States or abroad and whether your assets are held in the U.S. or abroad. Now, U.S. citizens owe U.S. tax on all income earned worldwide. There is an exclusion for income earned up to $85,700 by U.S. citizens working abroad, but it doesn't apply to investment income, so retiring abroad to a low-tax country generally will not reduce your U.S. tax. However, details may vary in specific situations or be affected by U.S. tax treaties with other countries. So go to IRS publication 54, and that's the tax guide for U.S. citizens and resident aliens abroad. And that should give you all the answers that you need to have. And then, of course, always consult that tax professional we talked about. My last email comes from Semrit Verk from Chester, Pennsylvania, asking about funeral expenses and says, I know that funeral expenses are deductible, but I can't find where to deduct them on the deceased individual's final tax return. Where do I deduct them? Well, Semrit, funeral expenses cannot be deducted on any individual's income tax return. Funeral expenses are deductible on an estate tax return, but this saves tax only if the estate's large enough to owe tax, and that would have to be more than $2 million right now. So hopefully that answers your question. As a matter of fact, I hope that answers everybody's question. The real answer is always contact that professional. They're gonna get you that licensed professional. Now, I want to thank you for listening to Robert Cardoza Live at the intersection of business and politics. Robert Cardoza Live broadcasts on Spreaker Radio, MyCast Live Radio, and countless terrestrial stations worldwide every Monday through Friday from 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. Pacific Time. I broadcast on Roar 1776 Radio and Live 365 Radio every Friday from 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. Pacific Time. And please follow me on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Google+, and YouTube, where you can listen to all of my shows 24/7. Go to my website at www.robertcardozalive.com and email me at robertcardozalive@gmail.com. That's where I get all the emails I deal with here on the show. On my next show, my expert contributor is going to be David Garrett with his series, Garrett on the Law. And my special guest will be Dr. Stephen Tidwell. He's going to be talking about tomorrow's dentistry today. I want to encourage all of you to tell your friends about my show here on the RLC Broadcasting Network. That's our show for today. Beginning today, treat everyone you meet as if they were going to be dead by midnight. Extend them all the care, kindness, and understanding that you can muster. Your life will never be the same again. So many of our dreams at first seem impossible, then they seem improbable, and then when we summon the will, they soon become inevitable. You know, the real secret of happiness is to make others believe that they're the cause of it. Robert Cardoza Live is brought to you by blogtalkradio.com every Monday through Friday from 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. Pacific Time. Now, go out and make it a great day. Your host has been Robert Cardoza, the technical advisor, Matchstick Digital, and your executive producer, also Robert Cardoza. Okay, everybody, that's a wrap. I hope you enjoyed today's show as much as I enjoyed producing it for you. Don't forget to join me again tomorrow at 4 p.m. Pacific Time for another installment of Robert Cardoza Live on the Street at the intersection of business and politics. And in the meantime, I want you to stay happy, I want you to stay safe, and I want you to have a wonderful, wonderful evening. Good night, everybody.